Today I'm talking about the 10 books that I'm anticipating to be released here in June 2025. So grab a cup of something and let's dive in. Welcome back, friends. As mentioned, I am going to give a deep dive into the 10 books that I'm most excited for coming out in the publishing world this June. They're in no particular order of how I'm anticipating them, but I am going to talk about them in regards to their release dates. So I'll go week by week and talk about what's coming out. The first book for June 3rd is Atmosphere, a novel by Jenkins Reid. So in this book, it's supposed to be set in the early 1980s, and we're following our protagonist, Joan Goodwin, and she's supposed to be this brilliant astrophysicist. She's joined NASA's space shuttle program as one of its first female astronauts, and she goes through intense training, and of course there's stakes that are really rising for her as a woman. And she happens to form a deep bond with her fellow candidate, Vanessa Ford. And so there is this powerful and unexpected love story that develops. And as their mission is hurtling towards a life-altering crisis in 1984, Joan has to then basically confront the risks of her ambition, her identity, and her connection to others. And so this is supposed to be a really compelling read about space exploration, but also the emotional depth in having courage, experiencing love, and knowing what it truly means to belong. The second book coming out on Tuesday, June 3rd is called The Battle of the Bookstores by Brady. And so in this book, we're following two individuals. We have Josie Klein and Ryan Lawson, and they both manage rival bookstores that happen to be on the same street. So for me, I'm thinking this is kind of got that You've Got Mail element to it. And so Josie specializes in literary fiction, and then Ryan's focuses on romance. So even though the bookstores are on the same street, they specialize in different things. But they both end up getting this new owner who owns both bookstores, and they now are going to merge those bookstores together. And so they are pitted against each other because there can only be one bookstore manager. So based on a single promotion, they have to determine who's going to generate the most profit over the summer. And as their rivalry is intensifying, they also form an anonymous online friendship. So amidst the competition between the two of them, there's obviously going to be some sparks flying, and we're going to get an unexpected enemies to lovers romance. So again, I really think this is going to have those Nora Ephron You've Got Mail vibes to it, and I'm really looking forward to it. We move on to the following week on June 10th, and we have a brand new book by Riley Sager. This one is called With a Vengeance. And with this one, we're following our protagonist, Anna, and she's trying to seek retribution for a tragedy in 1942 that destroyed her family. We're now 12 years later, it sounds like, and she happens to lure 6 individual people who she knows or thinks are responsible for this tragedy. She lures them onto a luxury train that's going from Philadelphia to Chicago. And she intends to confront them all and basically deliver some kind of justice. However, her plan kind of gets foiled because a passenger is murdered on the train, and it becomes evident clearly that someone else on the train is enacting their own sort of revenge. So as the train is making its way to its destination, our character Anna has to navigate what probably is going to become a game of survival, questioning who she can trust, how far she's willing to go to enact her own vengeance. So I know for some people, Riley Sager can be a little hit or miss. He's usually a hit for me. He's only had one or two that just weren't particularly my cup of tea, but I still love them. He typically knows how to write a novel that has a fair amount of twists and turns. The next book coming out in on June 10th is by S.A. Crosby. And if you loved Razorblade Tears, and you're probably, I'm guessing, we're going to love this one as well. This author has a way of kind of giving us some subtle plot twists that really keep you guessing as to what's happening in the novel. And this year, we have the novel King of Ashes coming out. We're following the story of 3 children. And the oldest one, Roman, has not been home to his hometown in Virginia in like 5 or 6 years. He's turned into a financial bigwig in like New York City, but he is called home when his father is involved in a pretty bad car accident. And he gets home and discovers his younger brother has kind of gotten mixed up and on the bad side of a gang, and his younger sister, Nevaeh, has been helping her father run the family business, which is a crematorium. And so as it starts to become clear to Roman that his father's accident was not an accident, but is linked somehow to his brother's involvement of being on the wrong side of these people running a gang, he's now feeling like he's got to navigate all these lies and deceit and violence in order to protect his family by using his acumen, his business acumen, basically in this criminal underworld, I guess you would say, in regards to the gang. And he's essentially going to risk everything to protect his family. And so another book coming out on June 10th is another sort of romantic comedy. This one we are looking at a fake marriage scenario. So this one is called Till Summer Do Us Part by Meghan Quinn. And we're following our female protagonist, Scotty. She's the only woman on an all-male team at work. And for some reason, she decides to fabricate a story that she's married in order to impress her boss. Well, her boss ends up suggesting a one-on-one session with this renowned marriage counselor. Scotty ends up enlisting the help from this person, Wilder, who they come up with this fake marriage. The plan starts spiraling out of control when everybody is enrolled in this week-long like marriage boot camp. And so Scotty and her coworkers and all their spouses are going on this expedition for this boot camp for marriage, and now Scotty and Wilder have to share a cabin. And so as they are navigating this unexpected situation, obviously, they discover that their fake marriage might just end up becoming something real. The next book on June 10th is a romantasy novel. This one is called A Dance of Lies. It's by Brittney Arena. And in this one, we're following Moran, who is a celebrated dancer in the king's court. And she ends up getting framed for murder, and she spends a couple of years in the dungeons. She then is offered a chance at her freedom, but she has to serve as the king's spy during this 6-week like royal gathering. And her assignments are going to grow increasingly deadly throughout the novel. And she's going to uncover, obviously, some unsettling truths about her king and his estranged brother. And there's going to be this dangerous political web. She's going to have to navigate all the betrayal and espionage. There's forbidden alliances involved. And ultimately, she's trying to reclaim her freedom. Moving into June 17th, the first novel is by the writing duo Liv Constantine. I believe they're sisters who write multiple point of view novels. And so they have a new book coming out on June 17th called Don't Open Your Eyes. And our main character, Annabelle, is a successful woman who seems to have a perfect life. However, she's having these really vivid dreams at night where it almost feels like an alternate reality where her really mild-mannered husband is actually violent and her daughters are at risk. Then elements from her dreams start materializing in her day-to-day life, and she starts to begin to think that there's something actually a little more sinister happening. And so, again, it's going to be told through multiple points of view, and I believe that we not only are getting different character perspectives, but we might even have like a dueling timeline, like alternating timelines. So these authors usually craft really gripping narratives. I have tickets with my sister to go hear them talk when this book is released, so I am really, really excited about this one. I've loved almost everything. I think I've read everything that they've written, and I really love them. I think my favorite was The Senator's Wife. The next book that's coming out on June 17th is the second book in a companion series by Amy Daws. I think it's called the Mountain Men series. I read the first one a couple months ago. This next one is called The 7-Year Itch. And in this one, we're following one of the other brothers, Calder. Again, he's a mountain man. He's really rugged, got tattoos. And he's actually looking for just a casual fling to go to his brother's destination wedding with him. And so his family ends up hijacking his dating profile, which actually ends up leaving him stranded in paradise by himself. He doesn't actually end up getting a date. And so what's going to happen is things are going to take an unexpected turn, as they do. And he's going to end up having to share a room with Dakota, which is the best friend of his sister-in-law. And Dakota has loathed this man for the last 7 years. And what begins as like a forced proximity situation evolves into an enemies to lovers story. And we'll get to see how it plays out once they return back to the wedding. Or back to the mountain. The next book that's coming out on June 17th is called The Farmhouse by Chelsea Conradt. And in this one, we're following Emily and her husband Josh. They're relocating to rural Nebraska from San Francisco after Emily's mother has passed. And they're looking for a fresh start. And so they've purchased this piece of property, this Nebraska farm. And unfortunately, what I don't think they know, it has a dark past. And so the dark past involves a teenage girl went missing at the farm, and her mother mysteriously died. So as Emily starts settling into her new life, some really unsettling events start unfolding. So think barn locations shifting, eerie music drifting across cornfields, disturbing sights, sounds start really kind of plaguing her, essentially. And so her husband, of course, is completely skeptical, and she's determined to uncover the truth. And so she starts digging into the sinister history of this farm before it has the ability to consume her too. And that leads me into my final book, which is being released on June 10th, and it's Don't Let Him In by Lisa Jewell. I'm a huge Lisa Jewell fan. I feel like I have yet to find something that she's written that I don't like. She is a definite read. I don't even need to know what the synopsis is. She writes a fantastic, usually domestic psychological thriller. So in Don't Let Him In, we're following, or it's centering around three women whose lives have all become intertwined because of one man. And so after this man's death, he was a restaurateur, and his wife Nina and his daughter Ash receive a mysterious package from his old friend Nick. And so while the wife finds comfort in her husband's friend's presence, the daughter gets really suspicious and starts delving into this guy's past in how it relates to her dad. So meanwhile, we have this other woman, Martha, who's a florist. She starts beginning to question her husband, who is frequently absent. And as the secrets start unraveling, all three women are going to discover some really unsettling truths about Nick and the deceased husband, Al, that's going to lead them towards some kind of shocking revelation. And I can't wait to know what that shocking revelation is. And that concludes all 10 of the books that are coming out in June. I would love for you to leave a comment down below and let me know, of the 10 books, do any of them strike your fancy? Did I miss something? Is there something coming out in June that you yourself are looking forward to? I'd love to know. Let me know in the comments. If you liked this video, please hit the like button. And if you'd like to see more bookish or knitting content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Until next week, happy knitting, happy reading, and I'll see you then.
Always think of you when spring comes, like it's something in the air at that time. Don't know why. Always dream of you when spring comes. It's like the heat